So New York is going to enjoy the future crime that they have voted for. And we'll mention first on the website something, being that you can go and check out Frank Stacotto's The Tragedy of Liberation book club that I did with Carl, because, well, if you vote crime, you get crime.
Yeah.
And if you let bandits, as they're called in Chinese, take over, well, you get everyone dead. And we'll start it off with just a question for everyone. How often have you seen something like this just scrolling on your phones? Those specific subway cars that you happen to see in every one of these goddamn videos of just some fight breaking out in a subway or some guy getting stabbed or some mental person just being mental.
Or in a fast food restaurant, they bring an axe out of their backpack and smash up the tables and the glass and threaten women.
But specifically the New York subway, I think is actually iconic at this point. And I don't know about you, but I can instantly recognize those subway cars, specifically from these fight videos.
Yes, I can see that of Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. In this case, actually, the FedEx man manages to defend himself from a criminal.
Go on, King.
So it certainly ends the fight, but we'll go forward from that and go to the next link here, which is that, of course, it's not small, is it? This 78-year-old man in New York, this is a story I found just before we started, he asked these lovely couple here to turn down their music because they were playing it really loud.
Without headphones on? Yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah, so he was like, hello, chaps, it's supposed to be you can turn it down, can you? They punched and kicked him until the next stop and then ran away. Lovely people.
Yeah.
No justice there. They just ran away. But so should we try and deal with the crime? Should we try and stop that kind of thing happening?
Well, the exculpation of ethnic minorities from having any personal responsibility because society is racist breeds this kind of resentment, and so you think you can just do anything and get away with anything, and that's probably why the fatherless homes, a lot of the time, leads to a high crime rate, and it's not good. Have some personal responsibility.
But also the leftist solution to this is that if it's a minority community, don't send in the police.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well then you're going to make the minority communities riddled with criminals who can get away with it because they know it's not policed.
Yeah, but they're useful agents for revolution, aren't they, comrade?
If you go to the next one here, we can see the endless TikToks as well. This is just some other one of some fight just breaking out. Cool. There's this dude.
Just a man choking a woman out.
Yeah, cool. Other things. If you go to the next one here, there's also some crazy people. This one, I think we're going to play because this is hilariously just deranged, to say the least. Let's play this clip.
Oh, no bad spirits next to me. Why are you recording that?
You have some, Wilson, have some!
Why are you recording that?
Wilson, have some!
This is 49th Street.
I've been drinking all day, Wilson, have some! I'm not fucking playing with you, Wilson!
Wait, isn't
have some!
this like the scene from
have
Legend?
some!
Yes.
I'll fucking have some, Wilson! Wilson! Let's go!
He's doing this bit, isn't he?
Wilson, make me drink all day, Wilson!
He's wearing a balaclava. I think he has to be doing this.
This fucking way!
Recreate I Am Legend. No.
Fuck!
The thing is, this is common as well.
Yeah.
There are endless videos of mental people on the New York subway doing similar things. This is just my favorite. Of people listening, he's got a mannequin. He's trying to feed it water and then starts screaming, "Take the water, Wilson," and then beats up his own mannequin for not drinking the water. I don't know what Wilson was thinking. Anyway, we'll go to the next link here because there was also a man stabbed on the subway for trying to defend a woman from a creep. This is the creep who's in handcuffs there.
Right.
He was harassing some woman, so a man was like, "Hey, bro, can you stop?" And he was like, "Well, now that you've asked so nicely," pulls out knife and stabs the dude. Cool. This is when people in New York aren't just being pushed onto the goddamn tracks on a subway. If you're the next one here, there's some guy who was pushed on the tracks. There's a story here.
I've seen countless videos of this.
He lived.
Right.
The next link is someone who didn't. It was an Asian woman who was killed on Saturday morning after she was pushed in front of an oncoming train on the subway in New York. Don't know who did that one.
The thing is, oh god,
they were debating whether this is anti-Asian hate crime, and I don't know who does anti-Asian hate crimes. It's still confusing.
Yeah.
The FBI statistics are not conclusive, I've been told.
Unfortunately, my uncle quite a few years ago committed suicide by jumping in front of a train, and it wrecked my family. It really did. So the fact that this is going on commonly to multiple families and the criminals is just exculpated from any consequences. Every single Democrat politician, legislator that is implementing this permissive criminal justice approach has blood endlessly on their hands, and you are traitors.
I believe
this suffer for it.
This is one of 9. I mean, the year hasn't ended for this year, so that's people getting pushed in front of trains. I do wonder, on the London Underground, there are some stations that have, like, there's barriers.
Yes, the Jubilee line, yeah.
Yeah, the doors are only open when the train is there, so you literally can't get pushed on the
We got that
tracks.
from the Japanese, because the Japanese kept committing suicide that way.
Yeah, well, New York needs it not for suicide.
No, I know.
For murder. And then, amazingly, we have AOC, who was campaigning at the time all this was going on. And she decided to come out and say that the real problem was the police presence on the subway. Yeah. I'm not even going to engage with that.
No, it's like you were saying yesterday about this. It's the idea that somehow the existence of the state is what corrupts individuals in a Rousseauian way. And she's basically making the argument that like Hugo Strange does in Batman, where if Batman didn't exist, he wouldn't have crazy villains. It's like, no, some people are just crazy and evil, and you do need to beat them down.
But also, there's a obviously straw man of either side in American politics, and you get the straw man of the Dems. It's like, well, they're literal demons who want everyone to die.
What do you mean straw man?
When you have AOC as a representative of the Democrats telling you, well, we need less police so that more people will die on the subway. It makes sense.
I'm comfortable calling leftists Satanists.
She won her election, of course.
She did. She was basically uncontested.
Crime
It's a
of
safe seat.
30%, so that not high enough, or presumably promises made, promises kept.
Do you know the crime statistics as well are massively diminished this year because the FBI do not have access to New York and LA's crime statistics? Yeah, they haven't reported them.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
We also have a video, though, of a British man who decided to go over and just ask people. This is
It's Harley Quinn.
a video from the Telegraph. He does actually go over and ask Harley Quinn and her other soy-infected locals, quite a few of them in different places,
The choker.
about their opinions on what happened about New York, and also a lot of the police officers. The police officers are all pretty much of one mind in this video. I just pause it there because I just love that quote. If you can just reload it, it's the timestamp. In case people are listening, the quote on screen is some guy talking to the man filming, saying, "Give me your camera, I'm gonna break it."
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, safe. What's that in Times Square?
It is
They're
in
filming
Times
there.
Square, yeah. The Rings of Power logo in the background, halal food. It's just multicultural vomit everywhere, and yet the entire society is degenerating as you see it. It's gone back to the 70s.
But my point is, it's like it's a tourist zone.
Yeah.
And you're still getting just threatened with robbery in front of a police car. Cool. But the point being that he went over, he asked all the police, what's your opinion on this? And they all concluded that, well, we had the broken window theory of policing.
Yes, which was Rudy Giuliani's policy, yes.
Right up until about 2019 is where they put the blame. And then they had the BLM-style policing that came in, and everything went to hell. That was serving and ex-officers. The interviews with the soy-infected locals, they decided to say that, what he asked them, what have you done? Have you been a victim of crime? Some of them told them they've been run over in a couple of years. Some of them have been sexually assaulted. Harley Quinn there had been sexually assaulted, she says. But they all came to the conclusion that they were still on the defund the police train. It was like, lady.
Yeah.
How? How are you still on that train?
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, the dude next to her was the one who had said he'd been run over, and he was still like, yeah, I don't trust the cops.
Right.
All right. We have the next one here because, of course, we have the Democratic governor who ran on the campaign
Yeah,
of crime
Kathy
doesn't
Hochul.
exist. There is no crime. You're all hyperventilating about it, and then New York voted for crime.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So the actual voter share in New York was massively up among Republicans, but still didn't win.
No, if you go to the next one here, we can see the results. And if you scroll down on that to the graph again of the state with the arrows, then just to the people listening, it's every single county is leaned Republican heavily.
Yes.
Wasn't enough, apparently. It's amazing.
Looks like the scene in 300.
Turns out campaigning on pro-crime is a promise made and a promise kept, and she's been rewarded for it. But then we have the news articles that have been published immediately in response to this election. I love this from the New York Post. New Yorkers beg newly elected governor to get crime under control.
Or you could have just elected a governor that campaigned on getting crime under control.
Could they? Could they have? Fed up New Yorkers are begging the governor to get crime under control after her surprisingly close win in an uninspiring race. She did an uninspiring campaign, and she still surprisingly won. New
She
Yorkers,
was
right?
only appointed because Mario Cuomo got too handsy.
Where she routinely downplayed concerns about crime in the Big Apple, she still amazingly won. People in New York complain about the high crime rate in the subways, so why did they vote for her? Steve says, age 70, to the Post Wednesday morning outside of the subway. Yeah, I don't know how. Don't know how that happened. It's amazing, isn't it?
I'm so
Anyway.
glad the American elections are the safest, freest and fairest in the world so that they can get quality candidates like this.
Now that Hushel has won, her primary needs to be doing something about all the crime in the subway, he added. Now, even her own supporters are pleading with her to deal with the crime and take action. Quote, I'm happy she won, but I don't want her to think winning gives her a pass on keeping the status quo.
Why do we have a no swearing rule in this office? I'm so mad.
But it's like the previous governor, you've re-elected her. You campaigned for her. This Michael here, he's someone who is a supporter of her. If you campaign for the status quo, you're voting for the
I do think anyone that has voted for her, knowing her record on crime, is equally culpable in all these people that are being beaten up and killed.
Sure, whatever, but I just can't get over the mindset of, like, imagine being I don't know, a Labour Party member, and you're endlessly talking about how when you stop being obsessing with woke culture, it's like, well, stop being a Labour Party member.
Yeah.
Like, crime's a real problem anyway. That's why I voted for the crime candidate. She's got a work cut out for her. None of us who rides the train feels safe, said Brack, 42, who noticed the governor is from upstate and doesn't have the perspective of people who ride the train every day to see how bad things have gotten. It's the same for a lot of conservatives in this country who don't live in the centre of town. They don't know how much immigration there is. My fellow progressives is what Anna Kasparian wrote about all of this, because the thing is, you can beg all you want, you can get on your knees, it ain't going to work. As Anna told us. For people who didn't notice, we went through this article yesterday, but very quickly. MSNBC last week interviewed the governor for New York. She brushed off comments about public safety as nothing more than conservative conspiracy theories. So good luck with the begging.
I'm being killed. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist.
I can't. She stares from upstate.
Yeah, but I love how all the claims are just exactly the same. Disinformation, misinformation, conspiracy theory. It's not happening. When it's happening, it's a good thing. It's just being gaslit by an insane ex-girlfriend.
Your rape didn't happen, says the governor.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Germans tried that in New Year's in Cologne,
Yes.
but it didn't work. The truth came out, and the truth is obvious in the United States as well. Herschel's comments on MSNBC show the tone-deaf nature of what they're advocating, and she had to walk back, as Anna said in this article. But she goes on to say that her safety is 10 out of 10 in New York, and then her home was burgled, and then she rated her safety as 5 out of 10. It's about average after being burgled. So the thing is, New Yorkers, I guess you're just going to have to pray to your gods that she'll get robbed a couple more times, and then maybe she'll say something about the crime, and maybe it's a problem. Because, I mean, it went from a 10 to a 5, so, I don't know.
You're a state full of bike cucks.
Maybe if she gets shot walking out and about, I'm not saying she should, obviously. I'm saying that I don't know how much it has to come to her door before she realizes that there's a problem.
Yeah, but some people don't. Do you remember Seth Rogen saying my car's been broken into multiple times and I still love LA and vote Democrat?
But it's like when Bolsonaro was campaigning, he's like, crime's out of control, and some leftist is like, no, it's not, stab.
Yeah.
It's literally stabbed him out campaigning. It's like, well, that's proved his point.
Well, Lee Zeldin got attacked while out campaigning by a crazy person. He tried to stab him on stage as well.
Yeah, so I guess until the crime comes to her home, she won't care. Because they literally had to get her to be robbed before she was like, well, the safety in New York's about average. Not perfect.
Yeah, Pelosi doesn't care.
So it's madness these people live in. And obviously, again, just to reiterate, if for no other one than the YouTube, I don't want that to happen. I'd rather she just get the facts of reality by listening to her own constituents. But it's just, it's mad that it has to happen to someone before they realise how bad things have gotten. Anyway, the next link here is just David Rearboy I'm going to end on, because I believe he used to live in New York. I don't know for certain, but he writes in here in response to the elections, would have been nice if you guys saved yourselves and elected the Republican, but to be honest, don't care. Don't give an F. Enjoy. Bye. I'm in
Get
Florida.
what you effing deserve.
Yeah. If you go to the next one here, we can see David talking about the fact that he lives in Florida now. Once I left home for college, I'd lived only in deep blue areas. It feels good to see my neighborhood on a map as bright red. If you go back to the text, go read it. And it's just the fact he says it's bright red. Knowing I'm surrounded by like-minded people, those of you still in blue states are crazy, to be honest.
When they accuse you of living in a bubble, it's for your own safety.
Maybe, but it's just the fact of him living in an area that's bright red in Florida. Everything's fine. There's no evangelical, extremist nonsense that people scare people with about the Republicans, especially Ron DeSantis. So no, everything's just normal. Everything's depoliticized. In fact,
It's peaceful.
they don't have to deal with endless chats about white supremacy in the school. We don't do that here. Whereas you guys in New York can walk on your way to school on the subway, have to deal with the crazy guy feeding Wilson water on the tube.
Or be drop kicked onto a live line.
Well, then you get to your school, you get to teach that crap, and then you get back on the subway, and some dude gets stabbed, and it's just like, yeah, what another peaceful day. God damn, it feels good to not live near Republicans. Enjoy it, I suppose. Anyway, that's that. You voted for it. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium hangouts we do, this one on Are There Big Cats in the UK? And if you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.